Hello, everyone. From my isolation to your isolation. We're kind of all going through a similar thing right now, and hopefully at some point this in the near future this blows past us and we can get on with our life. I think that this is a very big learning experience, though, and that somebody else can talk about that, or maybe I'll make another video blog about that. But right now, I want to talk a little bit about entertainment, music, artists, which is what I normally talk about on these video blogs. DIY, entertainment, music. I give tips, and you take it with a grain of salt. If you're familiar with my vlogs, you've heard a few. That's what I talk a lot about. And one of the things and if you see me looking down, I have a huge tortoise that walks around this backyard, and he's getting close to me, so I gotta watch out for him because he's strong. So I'll do it from here. So one of the things you'll notice on social media is I've done it myself. Artists are going live. Famous artists are going live, and it's a really cool thing for us to be able to do right now. To cure boredom, to show what it is we're all about, and to give you some entertainment as well. Artists aren't the only ones going live. Everyone's going live right now because it's, like I said, cures boredom, and you can talk to people that you can't really see out in public right now, and so it's a really cool tool. But one of the things I talk about a lot in my past, that I have talked about in my past video blogs, is the smaller artists of the world using social media to connect and to make audiences around the world, and to be able to not give up on your dreams and to accomplish things that many artists, you grow up, you become an entertainer, and you want to get signed to some big agency, some big record label, some big, depending on what it is, a band will get signed to a record label, release albums, and then play big festivals, and that's the dream, right? Well, things have changed over the years. I remember, like, when I first started, it was to be on MTV and to get on a late show, David Letterman, Jay Leno, now would be Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. I'm not 100% sure of this because I'm not 19, 20-year-old. I'm not a 19, 20-year-old right now, so I don't know. But I get the feeling that's not the dream anymore. It's changed. Like, people would rather be promoted by YouTube, in a trending area of YouTube, than to be on Jimmy Kimmel. In my opinion, I think that's probably true. I know I would rather do that now. So with that said, all what's going on right now has given a great chance for people, and I try to find the best way to say this, because we're all people, and in one way or another, even an artist that's trying to, like, make it is still a person that's a fan of something. So when I say, like, the masses or the general audience, I mean myself as well, because everyone falls into that. But we have our minds right here, right, individually. But as a whole, we kind of have, like, this mind all together. You'll know this because, like, if you're in America, you go see cover bands in bars and clubs. What do they play? They play Sweet Child of Mine. They play a Santeria from Sublime. They play Basket Case from Green Day. You know what I'm talking about. Individually, you might say, I'm sick of that song, or I've heard that too many times. Why do cover bands play those songs? It's because, as a whole, the people that go to clubs, the one mind altogether, wants to hear those songs because it never gets old. Even though you may not like it individually, as a whole, those songs tend to work best to the mind of many altogether. So, with that said, the general audience is very important to artists. But as we go forward in time, I feel like it's not about everybody, it's about small groups of people. Because I think we are getting to a time where, and I've always talked about this, but now with this corona thing, and if we get out of it, which I know we will, things are changing and things are gonna change, and it's a big learning lesson for us. I think the big thing about artists going live and people seeing and being very entertained by it, no matter if it's an original artist, a cover band, a comedian, you name it, an artist, I've seen all sorts of entertainment in the last couple of days, and it's really cool. The general audience is now going to learn that they don't necessarily need to see Sweet Child of Mine and Santeria, because individually we all knew this, but it is like all of us together that need to understand that. And I've been saying that for a long time. Bandcamp is an incredible website that has so much music. It has so much music you'll never be able to even hear 1/10 of it, or whatever fraction, a small amount. You'll never get to hear all of it. It's just too much. But that's a good thing. You can find artists that want you to be their fan, to like their music. I think we're at a point now where, because let's face it, celebrities, it's got to be a little hard to be a celebrity right now. You might say, why? They get the best of everything. Well, they did get the best of everything. And I've made video blogs about this, you know, in the past year as well. I'm always talking about this, but it rings true now more than ever. What I've said in the past is that, is fame really worth it? I've said that. I've said that at some point the record industry, see, I say I'm in the record business. Anyone who's not signed to a big record label, or if you're a comedian, you're not signed to a big agency, right? You're on your own, you're DIY, and that can mean a lot of things. That can mean you're a group of 5 people. It can mean you're a group of, you know, you're just you. It can mean you're a group of 20 people, but you're not with the machine, right? So if you're that, you call your own shots, and I think at some point, and I've said this, I think my first video blog I said this, at some point the music industry will merge, not necessarily merge, I'm sorry, not merge, I don't want that, will have to coexist with the music business. I say I'm part of the music business. If you're not signed to a big machine, you're part of the comedy business, you're part of the art business, you're not signed and you're not part of that machine, you're not in the industry. That's how I see it. So when I say music industry, I'm not a part of it, but I am part of the music business because I do sell my music. That's a business. That's my business. So the DIY community is a group of a bunch of countless businesses, all being run by us. If you do it, you know, if you're maybe you don't do it and you just do it for fun. That's a different subject. But right now we live in a time where I think the general audience is starting to understand that they can make artists be like the artists of the past. It's like, I always see it. You go to a YouTube video of, let's say, Led Zeppelin playing some big festival back in the day, and you see the comments all saying stuff like, man, I went to that concert, I saw Led Zeppelin, I saw Van Halen, I saw Black Sabbath for $10, right? You see those comments all over the place. Music is not like what it used to be. And you'll see kids nowadays, or young teenagers, young adults as well, that are coming from this generation now, growing up now, and they go into these videos and they say, I wish it was like this now. It sucks that I didn't get to live this, you know? So they understand that too. Now, thankfully, for people that like different kinds of music, and it doesn't have to just be rock, a website like Bandcamp has all kinds of music, from hip-hop to metal to punk rock to anything you can think of. It should be there, and there'll be far more than you could ever need. So what happens to the famous artists? Well, they stay being famous. It gets a little harder for them because now we're not just taking what they say, so-and-so said, so I guess it's true. You know, that's been something that's been slowly sliding away in the last 5 to 6 years, I think. But because of this, it's happening fast. Like, I mean, just like last week, there was an effort by several celebrities to do a cover of John Lennon's song Imagine, and people were pissed. People were mad because they were like, we don't want to hear that from you. Now, rewind 10 years, and it may have been a different sort of thing, and I'm not taking myself out of this equation. I'm part of that too. I remember, I don't know how long ago it was at this point, maybe 10, 7, 8, I have no idea, but it was a while back, and at one of the Oscars, they took that photo where all the celebrities ganged up, and they got next to each other, and they took a selfie. And I think, I can't remember, Angelina Jolie's in there, and Ellen DeGeneres is in there. It's all a bunch of A-list celebrities, and they took that big selfie. Just find it. You can find it easily. When that happened, everyone was like, whoa, that's so cool. The celebrities are taking a selfie. Even I was like, that's a cool photo. If that happened like now, everyone would be like, well, screw that. What makes them special, right? So it's gotten a lot harder for many reasons for celebrities. And it just goes with what I've been saying for the last three years on my video blogs. The coexisting of the big industry and the business of DIY. Like it or not, they're gonna have to be okay with it. They will probably fight in some way to like make it hard for us artists. But at the same time, like once you go there, once the general audience understands that we don't need the mega big A-list celebrities to find entertainment, they're gonna be there. So, and there's good things to that too. For one, well, first let me finish my thought. They're still gonna be there. So if you want to see them, you know, it's still gonna be there. The movies are still gonna be made. Music will still be made. It's just you're not gonna be as gullible to them anymore. And that's been happening slowly, but kick-charged by this situation. Okay, so yeah, one of the cool things that big industries can produce is no spared expense movies, no spared expense concerts. I saw U2, which is my favorite band. I saw them at Denver. I saw them in Denver like in 2011 on a show called the 360 Show. Biggest tour of all time. I believe Ed Sheeran just recently topped it money-wise. So a band like U2, they put this grand show on with a stage so big you can see the stage outside of a football stadium. It's massive. Now you may say, well, it's about the music. Well, thankfully, my favorite band, U2, makes great music in my opinion. You may hate them, but I think they make great music. So to see them flexing their power a little bit with a stage that big, with songs that good, you're not gonna really see something like that. It's like going to the Super Bowl, you know, going to a World Cup game. You see that power, and there is something that like it sticks with you forever. So maybe that, you know, that may still be around for many years, and I think we need that. You know, it lets you dream, it lets you innovate to levels that push human possibilities. We need that, but at the same time, we have to keep it in check because we're not gods. We're not that, you know, so we need to be put in check. I think the celebrity world is being put in check now. Like, you can't just tell us and we believe it. And this is where DIY comes in. Now, there's artists like me who probably the industry wishes would give up, but because we have all these tools, we don't have to give up. And I don't have to just like give lessons and maybe play in a cover band, which is nothing wrong with that. That's a great thing to make money. I'm not. Please understand. I'm not stepping on those ideas. That's great. But if you had the dream of writing music, being a comedian, or being a singer that sings his own songs or her own songs, you can do that with these tools. And now it seems more than ever the general audience, all of us, are starting to notice, hey, you know what? If we get behind certain people, it's the same thing as getting behind a certain band or an artist under a big corporation or a company. Same thing. It's the same thing, and at some point, things could change to where the DIY people are growing so big that, you know, remember not to be gullible to artists that say certain things, or that, you know, the same way of A-class celebrity. It can become the same way, but right now we're not there. Right now we're in the blossoming phase of, hey, look, so-and-so sings really good from their bedroom. Are they just as good as, you know, Mick Jagger? Well, you be the judge, because that's the only difference. It's just whether you think it is or not. That's all. So I think that with what's going on right now, it's a really big kick, like mentally, like, hey, this is true. What I've been saying is very true. And the difference here is like, you pay an artist, like, say you go hear my songs here on my YouTube channel, Chris Sky Music Playlist right here on my channel. Every single time you hear that, because it's monetized through the company that distributes the songs, and I wrote them, they're my songs, I own them, the money, it comes all here. Like, I'm not paying any other person on my team. I have no other team. Like, I am the only person on this team with this project in particular. So it's a very pure thing. It's a really cool thing. And like I said, it's different for all DIY artists. You may have a team of 7, 8 people. But once again, you go to a big record label and you're paying like who knows how many, but it's a lot. So I'm not calling for the takedown of this big world of entertainment. Like, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have big celebrities. I'm just saying that we are here, as you can see now on Facebook. We are here, and nobody told us to be artists, so you don't owe us anything. That's where we come into play, of being inspirational ourselves, like to push ourselves that this is not good enough, because I want to give my best product to you, you know, and we control that, you know, you control that as an entertainer. So yeah, just it's an exciting time, and if you feel depressed right now because of the situation, just remember it's going to be over at some point, and it's very easy to lose motivation. Like, say all this blows over in a couple months, and what are you gonna do? Like, well, I'm motivated, but then all of a sudden it's like the world is good again, and it's like you somehow get unmotivated and things are back to normal. No, let it motivate you to create, and know that you can do what you want to do. You really, really can. Like I said earlier, about a couple of minutes ago, the big industries, you rewind 10 years, 15, 20 years, they were getting cassettes, CDs from artists all around the world, in music in particular. I mean, if you do comedy, or if you're a dancer, or if you're an artist, I mean, there's still a way to get signed to big agencies, and I don't know about how you would do that, but I know in music, you send a cassette, you send CDs, and you hope that they like it and they sign you, right? Well, those CDs packed up in a corner and they never got heard, and so got thrown in the trash, got 10 seconds and you threw them in the trash. Hardly anybody can impress anybody in 10 seconds, or that just doesn't have the mindset to work with you. And it's gotten worse since then. Now it's like not just like, oh, blow me away in 30 seconds. Now it's, I see a lot of like, that term. It's not what you do or whatever. It's who you know or something. I forgot how it goes. It's who you know. Well, that existed 20, 30 years ago, but it's more important now than ever to be that, because nowadays you're seeing, like in Hollywood, like cousins, nephews, uncles, aunts, friends and relations, all getting to places, all getting signed, all like my dad made films. My mom was a photographer for the high for the A-class celebrities. You're starting to see that more than ever. All the big celebrities you're seeing now are just friends and relations, more than ever. And every now and then some get through the cracks, and so I know that, but it's more than ever. So it's harder and harder to make it in that sort of world. Thankfully, I think there's options now. So I'll end it with that. So when we get out of this, or even right now, just remember, the entertainment's everywhere, and it's the exact same kind of entertainment that you see at the top. So we can make new people that get to the top in a different sort of way. It's all around you. So that's all I want to say. Until next time, rock on.